What's up? What's happening on the Hoffman Show? 1 week from the NFL draft, the Commanders have sent their fans into a tizzy. Did they make a mistake by hosting multiple quarterbacks in a top golf battle for the ages yesterday in Ashburn? This is what it's come to. People have asked me, I feel like for about a week and a half now, are you sick of talking about this draft? And there have been days when I'm a little over it. But honestly, it's been really cool, I think, to dive even deeper. I've really enjoyed some of the content that some of my friends in the media world have put out, diving even deeper into some of the picks later on in this draft. And then yesterday, it felt like everybody ran face first into the stupid, silly season wall. And I can't believe how wrong some people are. And I don't do this often where I just go, y'all don't get it. But to the people, which includes plenty of smart media people, to the people who think that the Commanders have just somehow screwed up this draft process because they brought in multiple quarterbacks on one visit because you have never heard of that happening before, boy, do I have news for you. Hopefully in 10 minutes you'll agree that it's very silly. So let's dive into it. First and foremost, this is not new. Bill Belichick, amongst others, have come out and said, yeah, we bring in multiple prospects all the time. I don't know why this got out in this way. I don't know why this is being presented this way. I don't know why people are freaking out in this way, probably because Jayden Daniels' agent might be liking tweets. But Mike Florio, who's always a rational person, wink, wink, who always has unmitigated always has the clearest views of anything involving interpersonal skills, wink, wink, he crushed this. Very silly. Very silly. This is something that's been going on for years. Belichick told McAfee Show yesterday that, we used to bring as many as a dozen people, and we'd have multiple quarterbacks and multiple receivers and multiple tight ends, and we get them all in a room and, see how they interact with each other. And that's the thing. When I heard this, I was like, this is genius. Because what's important to remember on the front end here is that this is not a Topgolf visit or whatever other meetings and things that they did yesterday when these guys were all together. This is not the entirety of the evaluation. This is a piece of the evaluation. And if you've been listening to those of us that talk about this team daily and you're locked in here on the local level, you know that one of the big things that Adam Peters and company are trying to figure out based off of how they scout and what they're trying to build, not just Peters, but Dan Quinn, is who these young men are as people. And if you want to understand who these young men are as people, put them in this situation. See what happens when J.J. McCarthy and Drake Maye and Jayden Daniels and Michael Penix are all together. And by the way, they're all together when they know it's a job interview. Who's cool, calm, and collected? Who's freaking out? Who's asking questions? Who is trying to act like they know everything? Who is a natural leader? Who is forcing it? Who is cutting it up with the guys? Who's reserved and standoffish? Who goes out of their way to get to know the janitor's name or show respect to a guy like Doug Williams if they see him around the building? Who does all of these things and who doesn't? Versus very structured, very straight line. I walk in, maybe my agent's even with me for part of it, or maybe he's not. But I get there and I meet with the GM and I meet with the coach and I maybe meet with the quarterback's coach and the offensive coordinator and I meet with the owner and I meet with all these people one-on-one and I get to do all the buttoned up media trading that I did. I don't care about I do care some about who you are in that situation. But by the way, I got that situation if I'm the teams at the combine. I got that situation at Pro Day. I got that situation where you were in control. I want to know what happens when you don't know I'm watching and you're at the lunch table with the other guys that we brought in on their 30 visits. Because I want to know who you are. And that is a part of the evaluation. Now, I'll pause here to reiterate the most important point here. It's a part of the evaluation, not the whole evaluation. This does not override all of the scouting, all of the tape watching, all of the everything that they've done to get to this point. But if you take in the consensus opinions, and some are really strong on one guy and really weak on the other, and some are over here and over there. Some people have them fairly even like I do. Like the opinions are all over the place. And when you aggregate them out and you come up with kind of a consensus composite score, Drake Maye and Jayden Daniels especially, but even J.J. McCarthy are all pretty even. And maybe you have one that you slightly prefer because of play style, because of a certain trait, whatever. But all of a sudden, who you are as a person might be a separator. How you act in that building and how you interact with your teammates or potential teammates or your rivals is really telling about the character that you're going to bring to the most important position in sports. So when people poo-poo this and think that like this is some wacky Josh Harris thing or that this is childish or whatever, I didn't even read most of it. I caught some headlines and I saw some tweets, and I know that sometimes that's the worst thing, but like it kind of captured the anger of just people are like, this is wacky. And then the Commanders screwed it up because now Jayden's agent is mad. Like, no, they pick the player. The player doesn't pick them. And by the way, if this kind of thing makes you not want to come to a specific place, then frankly, I don't want you. As long as it's close. Now, I don't think it's the kind of thing that if they've got Jayden Daniels way ahead, they'll take him and it's going to be water under the bridge real fast. I'm not crazy. I'm not going to be like, throw the baby out with the bathwater. But if you're close and you're in a competition, I want to know, do you feel entitled or are you willing to just show up and be you and finish out the process? And for an organization that is incredibly process-oriented, as Adam Peters reiterated today, running out through the end and who is willing to run with you is part of the evaluation. And so I would love to know, and I assume on some level we'll find out after the pick. I want to know what happened yesterday. When you go to Topgolf, are you willing, even if you don't golf, are you willing to compete? Are you willing to have a little fun? Are you willing to even make, like, if you're awesome at golf, great. If you're not, like, I don't care how good you are at golf. I care whether or not you're willing to have fun with the guys. I want to see how you interact with people. And by the way, I also want to know, like, are you asking, is Jayden Daniels asking Drake Maye, hey, man, I saw this highlight that you had against whoever. What'd you see there? Like, I want to know who loves football. Who's paying attention to the other guys? Who's in it? And who's just on their phone scrolling Instagram, TikTok. Pick your favorite app. That's what this is about. It doesn't change the film. It doesn't change what the coaches say, what the teammates say. It's a chance to experience who they are as people in person. And if you don't think that's valuable, I don't know what to tell you, other than you're wrong. Like, rarely am I that in your face, but you're wrong. Again, doesn't override the film. If Michael Pratt, the quarterback from Tulane, was in yesterday and he was the best guy of the bunch, it doesn't make him worth taking at number 2 over the rest of these guys or for passing on one of these guys. Now, talent's the number 1. But when the talent's close, who you are is going to ultimately tell me how likely you are to maximize your career and reach your goals and be the leader that we need you to be for this football team. Which is why what they did yesterday, even if it's something that most of us had never heard of before, even if it has happened without us hearing about it, is a genius move and the right move to finish off this draft evaluation of these quarterbacks. It's the Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980. We're always live as well on the free Odyssey app. We are streaming live on YouTube at the Team 980. But, of course, always want to talk it out. 301-230-0980. 301-230-0980. Take your calls. We're 1 week from the draft. We'll hear every pick of the 2024 NFL Draft right here on the Team 980.